Hello, grade 6. How are you? We will start today with module 7, lesson 1 from module 7, which is the write and solve one-step equations. If you remember, in module 6, we learned together generally how to form equations, how to write equations. In this module, we will work together and focus on solving the equations, on finding the value of the variable. So at the end of the lesson, students will write and solve one-step equations with rational numbers, different kind of rational numbers, fractions, and whole numbers, how to deal with integers, if they are of coefficients of the variable, etc. But let's first remember together the properties of equality. Now, if you remember, we talked about four, properties in dealing with or in solving equations. The first one is addition property of equality. I will depend on this property in solving subtraction equations. And if you remember, we said that if two sides of an equation are actually the same or equal, so adding any value to both sides will not change the equality, will not change that the equation is still in balance and have two equal sides. And for example, if A equals B and you add C to both sides, then you have the same equality. Then you have equation, or you can say that this is an equation, adding same value for both sides. Now, subtraction property of equality, it actually you are using this property or applying this property in solving problems of addition or addition problems. Now, two sides of an equation remain equal when you subtract same number from each side. If A is equal to B, and this is an equation, so subtract C from both sides will not change the inequality. Multiplication and division property of equality is the same. It's just I want you to make sure and understand that when I want to solve subtraction equation, when I want to solve, for example, multiplication equation, I use the division property of equation. Of equality. When I want to solve division equation, I will solve or use the multiplication property of equality. I need or I want to solve or find the value of x, so I need to use the inverse operation. And as we said before, I have two groups. Each group, let's say that addition and subtraction together, and multiplication and division together. And I use the inverse operation from the same group to find the value of x. Or of the variable, of course, any variable. Now, let's remember together what's an equation. We said before, it's actually a sentence that it's stating that two quantities are equal. Two sides are actually equivalent. Right side is equal to the left side. The value of a variable that makes an equation true is called the solution. A true equation, it's the equation that has both sides that are equal, and the value of the variable that makes or keep the two sides equivalent or equal, I call it the solution for the equation. Now, and it's very useful for you if you look at at this diagram that shows how can we imagine the solution. Now, they said x plus 2 equals 6, as you can see here in the first problem or first equation. Now, since I have a balance, I have an equation, there is an equal sign, so there is equation, so there is equality on both sides. The two sides are equivalent. So I will have generally 6 ones to the right and 6 ones to the left. Now you can see that there are 6 ones to the right, 6 blocks to the right. As we said, there are six blocks to the right of the equation. Now, and we have unknown blocks, and with them we have two blocks. Now, I should think about the value of x that makes the two sides equal. Since I have 2, so what's missing? It's actually 4. So x is equal to 4. If I add 4 blocks to the 2 blocks that I have them in the equation, I will actually make the two sides equivalent. The equations x plus 2 equals 6 and x plus equals 4 are equivalent equations because they have the same solution. So x is equal to 4. This is how we find the solution. For example, miss, let's start with example 1. Solve one-step addition equations. Now, let's solve, the problem -5 equals b plus 8. Now, what's this kind of equation? It's addition. How did we know that? Because actually, as you can see here, there is number 8 actually added to b. So I focus always or my focusing, my interest, okay, is on the side of the variable. What's the equation? What's the operation that exists in the side of the variable? It's actually addition. So the equation, or it's an addition equation. Now, for solving addition equations, I use the subtraction property of equality. So what I will do, I will think about isolating b, keep b alone. How? By get rid of, number 8. Okay, I want to get rid of it. So I want to replace it by, or to put 0 in this situation. I want to put b plus 0, which is equal to b. How to make it? I will subtract the same amount, the same quantity. I have 8 added. I will subtract 8. This is what is happening here, miss. Now, when you are subtracting number 8, actually, here, the value here, it will be equals to 0. It will be equal to 0. Now, what's left? It's only b. So as you can see here, it's only b that will exist. And this is the meaning of finding the solution. This is the meaning of solving, or actually isolating b in one side. Now, but since I'm talking about equation, I'm talking about a balance in the equation. So whatever you do to the right side, you should do it to the left side. If you subtract, if it's actually -5, you have to subtract 8 since you subtracted from the right side. Now, in dealing with integers, there is a rule. It tells you that if you have same sign, what you do, you add the integers to each other and keep the sign. How I know that they are having the same sign? It's actually because the sign to the left. Now, the sign to the left, it's actually the sign for the number or for the integer. Now, the sign to the left for both 5 and 8, it's negative. So since I have same sign, look, I will add. So when I have same sign, let's write it. When I have same sign, what I will do, add and keep the sign. And you should keep the sign. We don't forget, okay, to keep the sign. So here I add 5 plus 8, which is actually 13, and keep the sign, which is negative. So it's -13. The answer is -13. So b is equal to -13. Yes. Now, to make sure that our solution is correct, I need always to check. How can we check? By replacing the variable by its value. I can replace b by -13. Then I will ask myself, does the right side or the left side equals the right side? Does it equal to the right side? I always put this question mark, on the equal sign. If they are equal, so this equation is true. I call it a true equation if the right side is equal to the left side. If they are not, so my solution is wrong and x is not equal to the value that I found it, or b is not equal to the value I found it. Now, I will replace by -13. Now, -13 plus 8, there is another rule in dealing with integers. It tells you that if the two integers are different, if the two integers are different, and we said the sign is decided by, or by the sign that's before it. Here I have negative 13, and I have, as you can see here, negative 13 and positive 8. So what I will do, if the sign is different, I subtract. I subtract as usually. 13 minus 8, it's equals to 5, but you should put the sign of the greater number. Now, what's greater here, 13 or 8? Since it's 13, so I put the sign of the 13, which is negative 5. And in the left side, I have negative 5, since both sides are actually the same. So this is a true equation, and my solution is correct.